Well, a lot of folks maybe wouldn't know it, but I quit my job to join the Theater Guild. It was 1988. I was working as a registered nurse. I had never done any theater, but I wanted to try some because I just wanted to learn what it was like to get up on a stage. I'd never done that. The problem was I was working split shifts and they wouldn't let you work straight days, and I couldn't go to rehearsals if I was working split shifts. So I quit my nursing job, not in anger, just gently and with some discussion. I took a 50% cut in pay just so that I could work straight days, and I auditioned. I had visions of myself being quite a star, even though I'd never done any theater. And so I auditioned and I got cast as an extra in Cinderella the musical. So things weren't necessarily heading the direction I thought they would right out of the gate. But that was 1988. I think the auditions and I think even the rehearsals were in the old, was it the Parks and Rec building they called it? And I didn't know it then, but I had completely changed the direction of my life at that point because I was happy working as a nurse. I'm still proud to be a nurse, but I was trying to find my way into something that was artistic and creative. I just didn't know it. And I was a farm kid from rural Wisconsin. I really didn't even know what I was looking for. But what the theater did for me is it introduced me to a whole different group of folks. And I came from very hard-working blue-collar folks, and suddenly I was surrounded by people who were creative, who'd been raised differently than me, who believed differently than me. And rather than making me nervous, it just made me happy. And also, I already mentioned the phrase blue collar, and I want to say that a lot of my roughneck friends, when they hear about the theater and the art, they can be dismissive because they don't equate it with hard physical labor. Well, if you've ever watched a set crew work, if you've ever been on tour and watched roadies work, if you've ever watched lighting techs and sound techs work, it's absolute blue-collar work, and if you don't do your job, the show can't go on. So it's all very nice to focus on the person in the spotlight, but it just became this wonderful melding of worlds for me, and I still, at that point, didn't know what I was going to do. I wound up writing mostly, but some of the things I learned in theater are playing a role in me making a living to this day. I'll show up to do a speaking gig or even a singing gig, and the microphone, the sound system won't be perfect, or I'll be in a weird room. And all I do is I just step up and I just think of Bob Carr way in the back row of the State Theater, and he's saying, "Project!" And I just project like he taught me in 1980, whatever. So I learned a lot of just fundamental skills about being on stage and how to pull a show together. And the unexpected thing I would say is that in 1988, I did Cinderella the musical, and that was the first show that the Theater Guild did in the State Theater. I was a cool bachelor. Later I did The Mystery of Edwin Drood, which was one of my favorites because I had long flowing hair. And as a matter of fact, there's a scene where my back is to the audience, and when I turned around, I heard somebody go, "It's a guy!" And so I missed that show because I missed my hair. But the unexpected joyful thing for me was that in 1988, I was in the first show that the Guild did at the State Theater. And in 2018, I got to sit in the audience and watch my daughter do the last show that the Guild ever did in the State Theater. So I think that's a lovely way to wrap up my memories. It's become not only a part of me, but a part of my family. Well, I don't need to tell you what these times are like. I'm a self-employed artist. Our little family makes its living out of things I write and things I say on stages. And so much of that was born out of my experience at the Chippewa Valley Theater Guild. And what I'd like to say is that I'll let other people speak to the importance of art. I'm evidence of someone who art transformed my life. I was happy with who I was, but I was fairly one-dimensional. And then all of a sudden, I wound up in this arts world and met all these fascinating people who reinvigorated my life and are invigorating it to this day. But I also want to just speak to the fundamentals, because sometimes we get so caught up in the idea of art as mystery that we miss the fact that when I wrote a play and took it on the road and had to do it in such a way that I didn't lose the house, I came to the Chippewa Valley Theater Guild and found people who had fundamental skills in theater. And we went on the road, and we didn't become famous, and we didn't ride around in fancy tour buses. But we didn't lose any money either, and people got paid to do their art. And to this day, I'm not a big deal. We are a small family business, but I still turn to people in the arts and people that I met first in the Chippewa Valley Theater Guild to do fundamental things that help me make a living, that if you really want to get down to brass tacks, generate sales tax for Eau Claire County. I can show you the paperwork. And so I'll let other people speak to the mystery and beauty of art, but I'll tell you that supporting the Chippewa Valley Theater Guild is fundamentally useful in that you are training people to function, survive, thrive, and adapt in an ever-changing culture. So I hope you can find a way to help out. Thanks.